Hello all, Michelle Houghton here. I have a very special video for you today. In the past 3 or 4 years on Copic in the Craft Room for Christmas, I have always done a nativity scene or a stamp of some sort. This year I've got a video recording of me coloring it, and I asked specifically if Stamp AnnieThing and over there would create an image for the holiday season with a nativity scene, and she offered to do so. So this is a digital image created by Anne over at Stamp AnnieThing, and I am just really grateful that she was willing to do this for me. Now, you're going to see some pretty harsh lighting, some pretty harsh cast shadows in this video, and I apologize for that. We are hitting the winter season in Iowa, and so I need to get all of my lighting set out, and I have not done that yet. But we are going to jump right in and get this adorable image colored. So I am starting with the skin, and I'm using a base of E11, and then I'm coming in with E13 to add shading. These images, because of the whole nativity scene, are a little bit smaller, the faces are, so I'm keeping it really, really simple. So E11 and E13 on the skin, central lighting. I'm going to use a little tiny bit of E04 and then E93 on the tongues. And the E04 is also going to go into those deepest corners on the face. On the little baby, we've got E50, a little bit of E21 and E93 on the cheeks. The hair is going to base in E43, and I change up how I did Mary's hair. E44 is next. I'm doing some flicks. On the beard, I'm actually using squiggles, and I just fill in the little baby's little kind of tuft. B91, B95, and then B97 are going to go all the way over Mary's clothing, and then the B97 is really, I'm focusing in on kind of creating the look of some wrinkles or folds. I'm going into that inner part behind her shoulders, and I'm even using a B99 in this case to really re-emphasize those, so you get some of those deeper. And you can kind of tell, I debated about the fabric across her forehead, and I just turned that into fabric instead of hair. I think that portion could go either way. That could be hair or fabric. E81 is going to be the base of most of Joseph's clothes, and then E84, a little bit darker on kind of the head portion. And then I've got an E87 that's going to come in and create kind of the look of some folds and wrinkles, hit that portion behind his shoulders, darken that up, softening that up, going in reverse, E84 and E81. Then E70 is going in kind of on his sash and the baby's blanket. E74. So a lot of earth tones on this image. I was trying to keep it really soft, neutral. I've got an E8. I'm just softening some of those and bringing some of those highlights back out. So both for the hay and then the thatched roof, I've got an E50 that I'm filling those areas in with, and then I'm using the other E5s. I've got an E53 and an E55 that are going to come in on both of those areas. These are areas that I want to show texture, and so I'm leaving a lot of texture. I'm not smoothing these out a ton. Same thing on the roof. I'm just adding these long flicks kind of in each section to create that look of kind of that layered thatched. And again, I worked with an E53 and then E55 to finish that off. I'm going over it once extremely lightly with the E50 to soften that. The wood on the walls, I'm basing in that E71 and the wood underneath as well. And I'm jumping all the way to an E77. And I do this fairly quickly. I move kind of in that vertical up and down motion. I can turn my page whichever direction I need to, but kind of along the wood grain, creating a little bit of darker effect at the top. And then I come back in with an E50, and all I'm doing here is I'm going in between some of those veins to lighten some up to create a little bit more dimension in that wood. I pull out a V99. It takes me a second to go grab it because I hadn't thought this through completely yet. But I use a V99 for the background kind of into that interior space. There's really nothing there, but I still think it's part of an interior space. And so I just want to push it back. I didn't necessarily want to go all the way black. And so the V99 is a really nice kind of optional color in trying to create that depth, pushing an area really far back, still warm. And then I'm going to use a night sky combination that I use fairly frequently. This is a B16, and I'm going to do about half at a time. I got going too fast and hit the hay, so I came back with my E50 to clean that up. This is a B37, and then a B39 is the darkest color. I like the fact that that B16 at the very start kind of creates almost a glow, and I love the way it smooths into those two B3 colors, the B37 and the B39. So other half kind of working my way up and over, trying to slow down a little bit as I hit that thatched roof so I don't run into that again. B37, and B39 will be out on those very outer edges, kind of hitting the corner, getting darker as you move away from the building. Now this, I know, I started at the very beginning of the video, and you might have seen this. I took a standard card base and laid it on top, and you could fill a card front with this, and it just fits. E53 is what I'm basing the ground in. And then you're going to see touches of E55 in underneath for some shadow. I just wanted to make that background kind of have a little bit more of an irregular base. And then I'm adding that touch of cast shadow underneath and softening those back up. So I keep it pretty simple. And then I go out, and I'm still using the E53 and a little bit of the E55, but the E53 is what I'm adding the texture to the ground. So I'm just adding second and third layers, and I come back with a colorless blender and re-emphasize that so it's broken up. I've got an opaque white going in for those details and stars, and then my video recorder tells me I am out of space, so it stopped me mid-star. You're going to see the finished product here in just a second. I just want to say thank you again to Anne over at Stamp AnnieThing for creating this digital stamp. It is gorgeous, and I love it. Thank you for joining me this week, and I hope if you celebrate Christmas that you are enjoying this holiday season with family and friends. Have a happy, colorful week.